let's let this thing roll then, all right? So, in case you didn't know, okay, for some of you.
Oh, you wrote that.
Okay, that's fine, I'll rewrite that,
Oh.
no problem. In case you didn't know, okay, that my wife Rhonda is in the house tonight, okay? And so I'm excited about that, okay? The star of the show, certainly the one that everybody came to see tonight, is going to be talking in just a few minutes. So her part tonight is to deal with food, okay? Because that's her specialty. I don't know anybody that knows more about helping people implement better food choices in their life. I don't know, she's been studying it for a long time, that's one thing, but she's also very gifted for it. So she'll be up in a few minutes. Before she does, I want to help you understand our subject tonight, okay? And so our subject tonight is leaky gut. And you probably heard that all over the place. It's all over. If you're on Facebook, you know there's ads for leaky gut. You turn on TV. It's like leaky gut's a popular term, but I'm going to help you understand it tonight, okay? And what I want to first want to determine is if we actually have it. Okay, so how would we know? Okay, so we're going to go through the risk factors of leaky gut. Okay, and if you have some of these, then guess what? If you're not already working on it, you probably got it. Okay, so first thing we're going to put here in the middle, we're going to put leaky gut syndrome right here in the middle. Okay, so there's 4 foundational or cornerstones, maybe we'll say, of developing leaky gut. Okay, so the first one we're going to deal with tonight is what you might know as SAD. S-A-D. Y'all know what that stands for?
Yes.
Yes, and it's very sad, isn't it? It's Standard American Diet. Come on in, Miss Jeannie. Saved you a seat right up here on the front. I have never picked on people that are on the front row. It's just, no, I don't do it. On the back row, yeah, back there you're in big trouble, okay? So, SAD diet, Standard American Diet. What are some things about the Standard American Diet that make it such a huge risk factor for leaky gut? Well, number one is blood sugar instability, and especially elevated blood sugar. Would you say there's a fair amount of sugar in the Standard American Diet? Fair amount, right? Okay, let's just... My wife likes to carry around this Ziploc, a 1 gallon Ziploc that's like half full, that shows how much sugar that you would be consuming in a 4-week period if you just drank 1 soda a day. It is tremendous, okay? So now remember that 4 grams is a teaspoon. So now if you have a soda that has 40 grams in it, how many teaspoons of sugar did you just consume? 10. Yeah, our math is right and accurate. 10 teaspoons in 1 soda. That's pretty incredible, isn't it? Think about it. Okay, so blood sugar instability is a huge one. Inflammation, okay? So inflammation in the Standard American Diet, well, not only is sugar inflammatory, but so are things like gluten and dairy and processed food, okay? You know, in America, you know what we have a lot of? We have a lot of food products. What we don't have a lot of is real food, okay? I've had people that I work with from out of the country that come to work with us on nutrition and other things, and one of the things they tell me is that it's getting harder and harder to find really good food in America. They said in other countries we have more and easier time getting real food. So here, got lots of boxed food, lots of canned food, lots of bagged food, but not a lot of just real food. And so it's inflammatory, okay? And so these are the 2 biggest issues. And of course with this, it's also loaded with toxins, okay? And that's everything from our food products and other things that are added to it, okay? Come on in, sir. Saves you a seat. Yes, sir, right here. Come right up here. I got your seat right there. This lady does not bite. I've known her for years, and she has never bitten anyone that I know of, okay? All right.
No, of.
That's right. I don't know everything, but she's never bitten anyone that I know of, okay? So toxins. Let's talk about a few major toxins in our food, okay? The biggest one in the artificial sweetener realm is aspartame. It is an excitotoxin. I did a whole video on that alone. If you haven't gone to our YouTube channel yet, you need to check it out, because on there I've done a series of 3, and I've got a couple more I'm going to add to it. Neurotoxins. Cytotoxins, what it means is it upregulates your brain, your neurons, to the point of literally cell death for the brain. So toxins, there are other ones. What's some other ones that are in our food? Well, MSG, right? What's from standard. You know what MSG tastes like?
Salt.
It doesn't taste at all.
How's it say?
Has no taste. Then why would they put it in the food if it has no taste?
Makes the food swell.
Preserve it.
It upregulates your taste buds. It excites your taste buds.
Stimulates.
So yes, and just like it
okay.
overstimulates your brain, it stimulates your taste buds, and it can overstimulate your taste buds, so that whatever might be in the food, you taste a lot
So
stronger.
you can go and buy more.
Yeah, you'll certainly buy more.
Yeah,
right?
eat more.
And eat more, and take the effect of the brain. There's many others that are in our food. Now let's look at the next thing. So we have infections. Okay, this is a major problem, okay, for leaky gut syndrome. Now, you say, well, I don't have any fever, so I must not have an infection. I'm not talking about an acute infection, I'm talking about a chronic infection. Chronic infections are low grade, but they're continuous. So what I mean is really one of the most common types of infections we deal with is what's called dysbiosis. Okay, so dysbiosis is where we have too much bad bacteria and not enough good bacteria. So we have an imbalance of bacteria. Then we have things like yeast overgrowth, in particular something you probably heard of called candida, right? But there's all kind of yeast things. And then there's viruses. And then there's parasites, right? And these can be problems as well. And they all take advantage of a weakened immune system or a weakened digestive system. And remember that 70-80% of your immune system is in your gut. So if we talk about leaky gut, we're really talking about an immune system problem as well. Okay, we'll get into that more later. Infections are a very common problem. Now I'm going to skip this one and we're going to go to this one. Lifestyle. Okay, what kind of lifestyle issues will cause us problems? What about stress? Anybody in here had any stress in the last week? Right? Okay.
Just a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. So some people had stress today already, had stress today, right? And some people are already planning for their stress tomorrow, okay? So we know it's going to happen. And you cannot eliminate stress, but you can eliminate the effects that it has upon your body. And you do want to lessen it as much as possible. But stress is a huge one. What about this? Do you think anybody in America has any problem with sleep? If you don't get normal, good, restorative sleep, you will end up with leaky gut. And the reason for that, you have a messed up circadian rhythm, your cortisol levels will be higher, and they'll be off track, and your body has to heal at night. And if you're not into a deep restorative sleep, you do not repair well, okay? So sleep is huge. And by the way, we know we got sleep problems because what are some of the most commonly prescribed drugs in America? Sleep drugs. I mean, it's crazy, okay? And then we got other things like anxiety and a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that. And the last one here, okay, is decreased exercise. We're not getting enough movement. In order to prevent leaky gut, you got to have movement. You need stimulation and activation of your spine in particular, but also because it stimulates your brain. Really, you got to have your body's got to move to keep your brain charged. And remember that your gut and brain are connected. There's a gut-brain axis. I did a whole video on that. We're not going into that in deep dive today, okay? But you can look it up on our YouTube channel. And then the last one. I saved this one because I was going to talk about it a little bit over here, but this is drugs. Okay, what kind of drugs would cause leaky gut syndrome? What's the number one? Pain pills are big, not the number one. Antibiotics. Yeah. Antibiotics. Guess what? Here's what the research is telling us now, guys. It's shocking. One round of antibiotics takes anywhere, based on the studies, anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to recover from. 6 months to 2 years. Now, how many people, okay, from 6 months to 2 years are going to have another round of antibiotics during that period of time? So when do people recover? Never. Okay? NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, right? Okay, these are a huge problem. Okay, steroids are a huge problem. Okay, let's see. Those are the most common ones. Pain pills, of course. Pain pills are a big issue, but really even worse on your liver. But you mess up your liver, liver's a digestive organ, you're going to have other problems as well in the gut. So let me just look at this. If we're eating a sad American diet, it's pretty much over for us, okay? If we've got any of these infections, pretty much over. Any of these drugs that we have or we've had or we are having, it's over. And then we know we got to deal with this stuff over here. Pretty much if we got one or two of these things going on, guess what? You need to be in this class tonight because you're dealing to at some level of leaky gut. And there's different levels of it, okay? We're going to go through it tonight. I'm going to demonstrate. Now, we've answered the question if, and the answer to that is yes. Unless you've dealt with it, you have it. Number two is, now, what is it? So let's deal with what is leaky gut syndrome. Y'all still with me? All right, good. Now, I'm going to draw, and by the way, I did not exactly excel in art class. Matter of fact, I have to apologize to Mr. Rogers, my junior high art teacher. I think I got a C, and I must not have even got that good. He must have been kind to me, okay? But I'm going to draw what leaky gut looks like simplistically for us. And they didn't even invite me to art class in high school, okay? So they said take something else, right? And so maybe that's how I got into science. I don't know. But leaky gut, in your gut, you have what's called enterocytes. These are cells that line your intestinal lining, enterocytes. Now, these have some what's called tight junctions here, okay? And these are actin and myosin. These are kind of like little muscles that kind of hold these cells together, but they give a little channel between them because you have to be able to get nutrients down into between the cells and into the bloodstream through the lumen to get to your body. I mean, if you take in food, it's got to somehow get into your bloodstream and go to the cells so it can be used, right? So, but it's got to be broken down correctly, and then you need this tight junction because you don't want this thing to open up, okay? Now, so basically, leaky gut is kind of a misnomer because everybody has a leaky gut on purpose. You have to. What I mean is a hyper leaky gut, okay? Super leaky. In other words, these junctions have been disrupted and there's a separation between the cells, and now you can have things like bacteria that are bigger going in. You can have viruses going into the bloodstream. You can have some foods like proteins that are not broken down that go into the bloodstream, right? Now, talk about now how do we get this breakdown, okay? So the first thing you must realize is up here on the top of these cells, we have a mucosal, okay, lining. This mucosal lining is made up of probiotics, immune cells called SIgG cells. It has other things in there to help protect that cell and to protect this opening. When you lose your mucosal lining, you're going to be susceptible. This is why antibiotics, they kill off probiotics, now create us a leaky gut situation. This is why chronic use of non-steroidals and alcohol and other things is going to thin our mucosal lining, is going to set us up for leaky gut. And then once these cells get inflamed, so the first thing, you have inflammation, right? Okay? So once we get this inflammation, then it's going to lead to leaky gut syndrome. But then what's going to happen is you're going to have things like proteins. Proteins like gluten, you've probably heard of, right? And dairy and other hard to break down proteins that are now going to get into the bloodstream, and this is going to lead to food sensitivities. Okay, now food sensitivities means if you have food sensitivity, you have leaky gut. You have you have an upregulation of your immune system, because once something gets into this bloodstream that's not supposed to be here, what's going to happen? Your immune system is going to take care of it, right? Because your immune system is there, God gave us that to protect us from infections and things. So what if this is happening every time you eat? What do you think your immune system is going to be doing?
Fighting like crazy. Fighting
like crazy. And guess what? It's going to produce more immune cells. It's going to, ultimately, what's going to happen is the first time this protein passes in there, it's going to attack it. But the second time it comes in, it's going to say, hey, we already took care of you once. Now you're a bad person. We're going to have to put a tag on you. And now our immune system is going to recognize you every time. And we're not going to send just a few guys over to take care of you. We're going to send a whole army. And that's what happens now. You have a food sensitivity. Okay? And so this ultimately leads, once you have food sensitivities, you start leading to things like autoimmunity. This is the progression. Okay, and that autoimmunity doesn't have to be in your gut. It can be in your thyroid, it can be in your nervous system, it can be in your red blood cells, it could be anywhere. Okay, because your immune system is now upregulated. Plus you've got these viruses and bacteria floating through your bloodstream that may embed in some tissue in your body, and your immune system is going to attack that tissue to get at it. So this is what leaky gut really is, okay? And so what we're going to deal with now, which is the reason y'all are all here, is how do we deal with it, okay? And this is going to be the best part of the seminar. Does that make sense, what we just talked about? Do you see how that could occur and how it sets off a chain reaction that then sets us up? Do you start to see now why autoimmunity is rampant in America?
Does it ever get wore out, the immune system?
Yes, it does. It does. It gets completely worn out. And then you're more susceptible to, guess what? All kind of stuff. More chronic. By the way, before you even notice you have an autoimmunity, one of the first things that happens is you start having more allergy type responses too. Not only to just food, but then you can have more upregulation to environmental things as well, because your immune system is hypersensitive initially. And then eventually, you're right, Miss Beth, it wears down and it gets fatigued, and then you're susceptible to everything. You're sick all the time, you don't know why. It's because your immune system's wore out. So I'm going to take a break here, bring up the star of the show. We're going to bring up Rhonda, and she's going to talk about foods that can help you deal with this. And then I'm going to come back and give you some protocols as far as nutritional support, okay? So Rhonda, take it away.
Hi, everyone.
Let me give you this, okay?
Okay.
I'm just going to let you, I'm going to just hold this here for you, and I'll stay up here, okay?
Are you sure?
Yeah. That way I won't have to take it out of my pocket.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So, 5 foods. I'm going to talk about 5 foods that will help your leaky gut. I'm going to start with the first one, meat.
Really?
Okay, any protein, chicken, lamb, any kind of meat that you're eating needs to be clean meat. So this
Yes.
means if it's eggs, it should be free range. They should be no hormones, chicken. The thing is with hormones, pesticides, and all these things that the animal is consuming and being injected into the animal causes more inflammation. More inflammation, you can't get rid of leaky gut.
Yeah.
So your meat has to be clean. So you might look for words like grass-fed, okay? And even that's a tricky one. To be grass-fed, it really has to say 100% grass-fed. But you really want to look for things, I always say the most important is looking for no hormones, no antibiotics, no pesticides. And I look for words like this, never. Because if you look at some of the meats, they'll say, hasn't been given any of those growth hormones or anything like that in the last 6 months. Well, what happened the first 6 months or year it was alive? So what I look for is words that say never given antibiotics, pesticides, growth hormones, anything like that in the animal. And the closer you can get to nature, that's what you want to look for with your food, is the closer you get to nature. Grass-fed. Look, and a lot of people's going to say grass-fed is not as good as, well, of course not. Okay, so is, let's see, is eating a kale salad as good as banana pudding?
No.
That's right. So what you have to do is you have to learn how to cook 100% grass-fed beef. You have to cook it slower, you got to marinate it well, and it will be the same. It's just changing some things. But I'm telling you, getting that out of your diet is going to be critical for leaky gut, but not just leaky gut, overall health from here on. So number 2, vegetables. Okay, so vegetables, you've probably heard, eat the rainbow. It's about color. It's about diversity. Now I'm going to tell you something about vegetables. I like seasonal, but you can't just eat what's just in season, or you're eating just squash and zucchini and stuff like that during the winter. Well, where's your greens? You know what I'm saying? You still need your chard, your bok choy, your kale, your different lettuces. You need all these healthy greens in there, cabbage, you know what I'm saying, Brussels sprouts. So what you want to do is rainbow. And the best way to do that is try to have a salad every day. Because in a salad, you can put 6 or 7 different vegetables in it of different colors, and then you can cook some greens. And I love to stir fry. So stir frying, you could put it to the side, but you could put 3 or 4 different vegetables in there. And if you're worried about, yeah, but it's gonna go bad. No, it's not. What you could do is make your grocery list around that you knock those things out. You know what I'm saying? That each day, oh, I'm gonna be eating some cabbage here, but I'm gonna save some for this stir fry, or different things. You can do that. You can also freeze vegetables very well, okay? So the most important ones are gonna be your green vegetables. Because guess what? Lots of nutrients, and we need a lot of nutrients getting into our bloodstream. So lots of different good vegetables. Now people always ask, do they have to be organic? Well, I always say foods without pesticides are always healthier. So then when people tell me money is a major issue for me, I just can't afford to buy everything organic, then you look up online the Dirty Dozen. They're gonna give you the 12 most toxic vegetables and fruits. And then I say, pick those 12 and eat them organic. Okay, if they're really expensive during that season, then don't get them right then. It's about making the right choices to also help your budget. Okay, so lots of greens. And I'm gonna tell you something, if you go into the grocery store, most of the time, all your greens, if you start looking, are cheaper than your squashes and all your other favorite potatoes and everything else that everybody likes to eat. Your greens are gonna be your least expensive. So they can help your budget. Okay, so we've got meats, we've got vegetables. My third one is fruit. Okay, now with fruit, there are some of those that I say should be out of the diet. Okay, when you're trying to get rid of and heal leaky gut, 4 of these fruits are extremely high in natural sugars. Okay, and we know sugar affects leaky gut, okay, affects inflammation. So those are what most people say are their favorites: bananas, melons, pineapple, and grapes. Most people say they're my favorite. So this is what you do. Keep them out of your diet for a while, and maybe only have them a little bit. Like, I'll never have all of those in my house at one time. Maybe if you just, hey, I really want a banana, you buy a small bundle. But really what you want is all those other ones that have a lot less sugar and a lot more fiber, okay? And so our 4th one is, and most people are surprised by this, but it is fermented foods. Fermented foods are loaded with good bacteria. Now I'm gonna give y'all some helps with fermented food that I've helped a lot of clients with. Most people say, oh, I like sauerkraut, so we have it all the time. That's great, you're getting good bacteria. But do you understand that all of those different fermented foods have different good bacteria in them? So what you do is, I tell my clients, when you're done with sauerkraut, go to kimchi. When you're done with kimchi, go to fermented beets. When you're done with fermented beets, maybe go to kombucha. After kombucha, then you're gonna go with a dairy-free yogurt, unsweetened, where you add your own berries to it. What you wanna try to do is run through 5 or 6 different types of jars of fermented food. And if you really hate it, so I've had clients that say, I hate sauerkraut. Okay, then don't eat the flesh of the in your jar. Eat the liquid. The liquid has good bacteria. And so this is how you can do it. You can take your salad dressing and literally take an 1/8 teaspoon of that good fermented juice and pour it and mix it into your salad dressing and put it on. Every client tells me when they mix it in like that, an 1/8, they don't even taste it. I also tell them, take an 1/8 or a 1/2 teaspoon, literally. You don't have to do a lot. What you want to work yourself up to is about a tablespoon, okay? And you're not going to do that overnight. That's okay. You can take an 1/8 teaspoon. I have clients that will pour it on their vegetables. Don't even, when they mix them in there, they don't even know they're in there. But now here you are. What you're trying to do is constantly putting in good bacteria. So when you're doing a little bit, and then when you like the flesh, and what you're gonna find out is the more you do it, I have clients that said I would have never liked that, now they do. It's about being consistent. And really you're doing it for a reason. You're trying to keep good bacteria. You don't want that imbalance of good bacteria and bad bacteria. So it should be something you continue to do, not just trying to get rid of leaky gut. And my fifth one, it's not the one that's least important. It ended up on number 5. So that is bone broth. Bone broth is loaded with nutrients. And I'm gonna tell you something about bone broth. A lot of stores have them. I know like Kettle is a really great brand. There's a lot of companies that have a lot of brands, but I'm gonna tell you, when you turn it over, when you start reading ingredients, you really find out it's not really bone broth. It's like chicken broth and some vegetables and bone broths at the end. Let me tell you, when it's at the end of the in the sequence of the line of the nutrients, it's going to not be that much. Really, the best way to do it is buy a company called Kettle. My recommendation is start with chicken bone broth. Beef bone broth has a lot more fat, so people go, I just don't like it. But I have a lot of clients who start with lamb or chicken. It's not as fatty. They don't notice it. Now, what do I do with it? Great. If you make beans, I'm literally telling you, take 1/4 of a cup, start with that, add it into your beans. When I cook meat, you can take literally a tablespoon and pour it on your meat. It will flavor it, and you won't even know it's there. I have some clients that started like that, and today they literally will drink it, they'll heat it, and they'll drink it. You can add it into your vegetables, you know what I'm saying? So and this is the same thing, small amounts. Take you like 1/2 tablespoon, add it into your food every day. Take if you do a smoothie, I have clients that throw a tablespoon in there and don't even know it's in there because it's a small amount. If you make it, the best way to do it is you gotta do it in a crock pot, 24 hours. So you take good healthy bones, and what I do is I rough cut onion, celery, you could even do carrots, and I put a lot of good pink salt in there, and I let it cook on high for a minimum of 24 hours, 24, 26 hours. Then you can strain off the onions and different things out of there, and you can take it in Ziplocs and freeze it, and just keep you a couple cups pint size in the refrigerator and use it as you go along. Then you take it out of the freezer and you use more. When you make it, you know exactly what's in it. When you buy it, you don't always. So it's always best if you can. So these are 5 foods I think you all could implement easy that could really make in time a big difference in your health.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Okay, I told you she'd be amazing. Okay, and you know those bone broths, they're great in soups, of course. You know, so you can put them in the soups that you really like, and that'll make a big difference for your health as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with how do we use nutritional support to help you rebuild your gut lining. Okay, and I'm going to go through some of the different things that we might use with a patient and what the purpose of these things are. So going back to our list, okay, and talking about the diet, that's going to be critical. So I'd Rhonda do that first, okay? So now, how are we going to deal with infections? How are we going to deal with the effects of lifestyle and stress and things like that? And then how are we going to deal with these issues of rebuilding after we've been through some types of drugs that we had to take or we didn't know, whatever. You know, it's so common. So first thing we're going to talk about is we'll talk about repairing the gut. And I'm going to show you a couple of different things here. So this is the supplement we use, and probably a lot of you guys who work with us nutritionally have been on this product called RepairVite. It's an excellent supplement, okay? It works really great. It has, the main ingredient is an amino acid here. It helps rebuild that enterocyte cell. So some supplements are going to be working with the cell, and some are going to be working with, okay, so remember we have these enterophyte cells. So this is where RepairVite is really going to strive. It's helping you get a healthy cell again. There's another supplement that we use called Mega Mucosa, because you remember there was a mucosal lining up here, right? Okay, so this lining is, we're going to help you rebuild that, but also in that lining, remember, are immune cells, okay? So this also has IgG, immune cells in it to help you get that back, because if you don't have that, it's so important. If you don't have that, then you're going to upregulate your big immune system a lot more often. You don't want to be doing that, okay? And so the other thing that goes along with that, in that dysbiosis, we need probiotics. So this is a supplement called Megaspore, okay? This is a spore-based probiotic not all probiotics are made the same, okay? And let me say this too, if you have leaky gut, initially, not necessarily do you want a probiotic that has 100 billion necessarily probiotics, or nor do you want one that has 11 or 12 different strains. You need to lay a foundation, and there's 4 to 5 foundational probiotics that are found in this product that help you lay a good foundation. Then you can add some of those other things to it after you get that established, okay? And then of course, what do you feed probiotics with? Prebiotics, which are fibers. Okay, so why was Rhonda telling you eat the rainbow, variety of different types of vegetables and fruits, okay? Is because that's feeding your bacteria. Your bacteria then are producing good things for you. They're fighting against bad bacteria and other stuff. They're keeping your gut healthy, but they're also producing something that's called short-chain fatty acids. And short-chain fatty acids are critical for brain health and good energy in your mitochondria. And so then we have a mega marine product, which is basically a gut-specific fish oil. So there is a certain ingredient they put here to help make this fish oil more specific to healing the gut. We use this at the beginning. That's the only time that we use it. And then after that, we go to the regular one. And then last thing is how we deal with infections. This is one of the products. We use several, it just depends. But this is a great product called Lauricide. It's made from the coconut plant. And monolaurin is the active ingredient. Monolaurin has been shown to be amazing against viruses, as well as bad bacteria and overgrowth there, and yeast balance as well. So across the board, great maintenance supplement and a good supplement also to help you get back on track, okay? So if you have been paying attention, what we learned so far is that, do we have leaky gut? Yeah, unless we've dealt with it, we do. Okay, what is it? We see that it's where you're getting things into your bloodstream that are not supposed to be there. They're supposed to stay into your digestive tract and be further broken down, or not get in the bloodstream at all. That's crossing into the bloodstream. And then we see, okay, how do we deal with this? Well, we got to make some lifestyle changes, and we need a specific program to go through. And that's what we do with clients all the time. And some of you have been through that already. We've worked with literally hundreds of patients all over the world, helping them get over leaky gut. It's one of the most common things that we deal with. And some of the symptoms, let me just go through this, because people say, I don't have any stomach problems, so I must not have leaky gut. The most common problems are not gut related. They're immune system related, remember? So we have allergy stuff, okay? We might have get sick often because it's already fatigued. We might have autoimmunities, we might have food sensitivities. We may have things like bloating and other digestive things that can be associated with it, but not the most common. The most common ones are this. Most common symptoms people complain of: brain fog. They complain of depression or fatigue, especially mental fatigue, okay? Sleep problems, which we just went over, and achy joints and flu-like feeling, achy body, okay? All that's common signs of leaky gut. So how do we fix it? Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make a special offer to you guys tonight. This is only for the people here in the room. Our normal program, we work on this for 2 months, okay? And we work with our clients. We take them step by step, right through the process of what to eat, what not to eat, what steps to go through first, based on your metabolic assessment form and based on our initial consult of what is going to be the best program for you. So it's specific to everybody, but it'll include some of the same things. And so we walk you through that for 2 months. Takes at least minimum 2 to 3 months. But once we kind of get you going, then normally you can take it on your own from there, okay? And so normally we charge $10.50 for our coaching and our working with my nutrition team. So you met Rhonda. Viviana is also one of our nutrition health coaches. And then myself, I work with every client, okay? I'm board certified in integrative medicine. I've been studying nutrition for a long time. And then so that's normally $10.50. If you're here tonight and you want to take advantage of this, $4.95. So you're gonna save over $500, okay? And if you're a guest tonight and you don't know anything about what's going on, you're not one of our clients, you're not one of our patients, then there's a free metabolic consult here for you, so you can sit down and get to know a little bit more about what we do if you don't understand it. And that'll really apply to anybody that may have some questions. But this is your offer. It's only good for the people that are here tonight, and it's only good for this week. But if you want to do it, you see one of my team after this, and we'll be glad to get you fixed up on that, okay? And there's some other things I've given you so that you don't have to remember everything we talked about tonight. So there's some handouts, it's gonna go through some of the details that we just went, much better pictures than I drew up here of what leaky gut really looks like, okay? And how the immune system gets involved and how food sensitivities really get going and things like that. So there's paperwork for you there. And then we look like we have to do a drawing tonight, so bring this up. Here, I'll let you have that to give to them. Okay, so, and we're gonna give away, somebody's going to dinner on me tonight. Okay, and well, it's gonna be on Rhonda. It's coming out of her budget. Okay, all right. She's not here right now, so she'll find out later. All right, let's see. Somebody's gonna win a dinner on us. Let's see. How about that, Dan Barber, my man? Here you go, buddy. That's your card. You got to take that lady with you now. Okay. All right. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Y'all enjoy. Hey, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you eat some more snacks. They're very good, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next visit. Kim's going to be passing out the information for y'all, and then getting you if you want to see Rhonda and start your leaky gut recovery protocol. We can kick that off as early as possibly tomorrow. All right. If not, for sure by next week. All right. God bless. Have a great night, and I'll see you on your next appointment. All right. Glad you stayed.